want to share with you my first courtroom experience, because people always ask that question, was when was the first time you went into court and how did you learn about this? So this was several years ago, pre-Lighthouse. We were still at our previous church. We were not pastoring. We were at that church for a 3-year period without pastoring, just attending and participating in the ministry there. And there was another lady and I who was a fairly good friend of mine. We were doing an 8-week teaching the kids' church. I was assisting her in teaching the kids' church for 8 weeks. And as we spent time together, came out that we both had a common dislike of another person, another woman in the church. And so we talked about her a lot. And one night we went out for coffee. I'm being really transparent here, okay? But that's how we learn, right? So one night we went out for coffee, and the whole evening was really, blah, 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 everything that was wrong with this person. And so I drove her home, and she got out of the vehicle, she closed my door, and as soon as she closed the passenger door, just my heart, just I can't even describe how I felt. And I knew that as soon as I got home, I would be praying. And so I got home and everybody was already asleep, and I went to bed. And as I laid my head down on the pillow, I just started to repent. I had no clue about the courts, okay? I just closed my eyes and I just said, God, I know that what I participated in tonight was wrong. And instantly, I was before a judge. Uh-oh. It's like, this isn't good. That was my first thought. Because when we think of the word judge or judgment, we have a negative perception of what that means. And so I thought, okay, well, I've started, so I'm just going to continue. And so I said, Lord, I repent for my participation in what happened tonight. And I know that I can't blame it on my friend. I have to take full accountability for what I did. And because I could have stopped it and said, no, this is wrong, we can't do this, but I didn't. I very gladly participated. And so I repented to the Lord, and as I just poured out my heart, suddenly I became aware of someone kind of walking out of the shadows, but they weren't looking at me, they were walking towards the judge. And they said, what Val doesn't realize is that this is what I shed my blood for. My blood has already been shed for this sin, and she's already forgiven. But what she also doesn't realize is that all her past sins, her present sins, and all of her future sins have been taken care of by my blood. And I just felt, I really felt the forgiveness. I knew that because I had repented, that I was completely forgiven and absolved of what I had done. Because I really was repentant, I tell you. It was probably one of the hardest things I ever faced, especially before the judge. So that was my first courtroom experience. Well, of course, that was Jesus. And I just got such a picture of what Jesus did for me at the cross. And I've never forgotten that first experience.